everyone, and welcome once again to KI Tee Vee. I'm Karen Reeves Toppin, your host, welcoming you for another show. I really trust that this series of shows have been interesting, inspiring, and that you have found something that you can hold on to help your business to grow, to help you to grow personally. And if you'd like to get a slot on KI Tee Vee, get in touch with me on keyinspirations@gmail.com. We are here to help you to showcase your small or medium-sized enterprise, your charity or your community project in a way and a manner that is suitable for you. So come on, KI Tee Vee is waiting for you. Today, I am happy to sail yet again across the seas and welcome to the show a couple that I have watched literally from the time I was a little girl. These two people, I have to call them young people because I kind of feel like I'm still talking to my auntie and uncle, but these two young people, I have watched them grow together. Their story is so inspirational, and I want to welcome the founders of Better Blends Relationship Institute and Inside Out Missional Community. Please help me to welcome Mr. Gabriel Charles and his wife, Dr. Denise Charles. Gabriel and Denise, welcome to the show.
Hi, welcome. Thanks for having us.
I don't know.
It's nice to be here.
You're telling me welcome
to my home.
But yeah,
you can
it's really, really good to have you.
No problem.
I am so happy to be able to welcome you to the show. It's great to know that even though I may have left the shores of Barbados, that there are still people there that I can reach out to inspire others who are not on the same shores as you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very glad to be here with you.
Okay, so we want to talk small business, we want to talk charitable causes, we want to talk a few things. And I know that the two of you are involved in quite a few things, but for those of us that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
I'll let my husband go first.
Okay.
He's looking at me. Well, go on.
I'm Gabriel, and I am very married to this lady next to me. You know, I am by profession, I am a welder, I am a pastor, I am a cook, I am everything that you want me to be. Yes, but yeah, I've been on this planet for a while, and I'm intending to be for a while still, amidst whatever is going on. So yeah, there's just a little about myself.
Well, we've been married for 36 years, and we have been in ministry together for an extremely long time. We don't like to necessarily tag it to any title or even to the emergence of the ministry that we now lead. Because certainly, as young married people, as you would know, Karen, as young married people, we were involved in ministry in the Wesleyan Church. We were singing in groups. We were participating in the youth ministry, in women's ministry, in men's ministry. So we have really been ministering together for a really long time. But in 2008, God impressed upon our hearts to do something novel, to do something a bit different. And the first thing that we did in 2008 was to establish Better Blends Relationship Institute. You know, it was really birthed out of our hearts, out of our love for each other and the strength of our marriage and our recognition that many marriages and many relationships, not just marriages, but many marriages needed help. They needed direction, and there was no such thing on island. I mean, there was nothing. We didn't put the word ministry to it because we didn't want people to think that it was church oriented. We wanted it to be accessible to any and everyone.
Yeah.
So we called it an institute because it was designed to be a learning community, a place where people would come, where we would go to people as well, where we would use the online forum to teach about relationships. And we've had many forums and discuss those as we go on. But really the aim of Better Blends. The tagline is blending lives, transforming communities. and we use the word better and not best, because we believe that in a relationship or in your personal life, you never reach that utopia. You can always improve. You can always get better.
Yeah.
And that's why we use the term better and not best.
What about a little about yourself?
A little bit of myself. Karen, I like to describe myself as a Renaissance woman with my hand in many pies. I wear several hats. I'm a professional educator. My doctorate is in educational leadership. I work at the Ministry of Education in Barbados. I used to teach for several years, but I no longer teach. I work in central administration. So I work in a position of leadership. I'm very passionate about education and about education change and reform, particularly in the digital age and all that it is bringing to the educational palette. I'm also an artist. I'm a certified cultural practitioner in Barbados. I do talk shows. I'm a poet. I'm a spoken word artist. I used to sing. I don't really sing that much anymore. But I do a lot of writing. I have 3 blogs, a relationship blog, a personal development blog, and an educational blog. I've written 2 books, and my 3rd book has just arrived in Barbados yesterday. So you're going to be seeing me launch my 3rd book very shortly. So I'm really very busy. I do counseling as well. We do counseling together as a part of Better Blends, both to individuals and couples. We do seminars, both online and face-to-face. So we've been doing quite a lot over the years. I mean, there's so much more that I can tell, but as we go on, perhaps some more of that will come out.
Well, I am now at a complete loss because you do so much, so much. I mean,
Yeah.
all it means really is that this is the makings of a really interesting conversation, because there is no subject that I can throw at the 2 of you that you will not be able to respond to, which is amazing. I mean, I didn't even realize that you had written 2 books. Tell us about your books, Denise.
Okay, my first book is called Your Baby is Coming Now Push, the book about pregnancy, which is not about pregnancy. That was published in 2009, and it really emerged out of the realization that we each have ideas, dreams, and desires. I called it in the book our IDS, IDDS. Our ideas, dreams, and desires, they're latent. Sometimes they're obvious. Sometimes we know exactly what they are. Sometimes we're not so sure of what they are. And I used the metaphor of pregnancy, and I highlighted my 3 pregnancies in the book to sort of bring anecdotal references to the journey of pregnancy and how challenging it can be. And I used that as a reference to our going through life and our need to journey through a pregnancy, as it were, and to bring birth to the ideas and the dreams and desires that we have, that God has placed within our heart. So that was my first book, and it was very, very successful. A lot of people connected with it, both women and men, even though it's kind of hinged on a female type imagery. Lots of men also connected with it. My second book, which was the one that I'm more well known for, is called How to Have Mind-Blowing Sex Without Losing Your Brain. I brought that out in 2011, and that one has really done very, very well. And actually, my blog, which used to be called Red Apples, it's now called Love Story 246. My relationship blog and that book has really opened several doors for me across the world. My writings have appeared in the Russian Times. It has appeared in the Maldives. It has appeared in Modern Bride. I've done an interview for the Huffington Post right here from Barbados. Rogers TV Canada has interviewed me about 4 or 5 times. So that book really, and my blog, my relationship blog, opened several doors for me and caused me to be a feature writer for Hitch Magazine, which is a magazine out of California. I've also appeared on, radio stations in both Toronto and New York as a result of my writing on relationships. And I have been absolutely amazed at that journey and at what God has allowed in terms of me, just a woman from the Caribbean, from Barbados, virtually unknown, just stepping out online and having had so many opportunities to share my story, my tidbits, my advice with people with respect to relationships.
Well, I think it must have been God that allowed you to see that niche. One of the things that we say in business is that if you're going to be successful, you've got to figure out what your niche can be and then stay there and work it. Sometimes you might need to nano niche. And I know that as you were talking about the sex in relationships, I know a lot of people shy away from that in the Caribbean. That is like a taboo subject. No one wants to talk about it. So someone that comes and you're so open and yet so you're open,
True.
but you are not crass. You're not crass in talking about it. You talk about it with style, and with flair.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
what people want. They kind of want the truth, not in a
Yeah.
crass way, but they want people to be willing to be open up and share. And Gabriel, how have you been supporting, or how have you been throughout this journey that Denise has gone? I mean, I know some men. I was listening to a minister the other day, and I'll never forget what he said. He said there are 4 different types of men, but the 2 that I remember, one is the gardener, and the other one is a bulldozer. And the bulldozer is the one that comes along and he sees all this beautiful landscape and everything, and he gets the bulldozer. He loves the landscape, but what he does is he gets the bulldozer, he picks it up from where it is, and he carries it to someplace else, and then he puts it down out of his own natural habitat. Whereas the gardener tends to see the beauty, appreciate it, tend to it, water it, make sure that it can stay and that it can dwell in its habitat, and that the gardener is an integral part of it, because if the garden doesn't receive the water, then it's not going to grow. So where do you place yourself in all of this?
I must say that both of them could be very relevant to me. When I think of Denise and what she has been doing, is something that, as we put it, she's like a caterpillar. She's like a chameleon. She can change, she can do different things. And I do not try to inhibit. I allow my wife to tap into the resources that is inside of her. And the thing about it is that she's not the type of person that allow things to remain latent in her. But as long as there is something inside of her, she brings it out. And I try to be the person that would, as you said, nourish. I would push her into her dreams, her purpose. I would not try to tell her, well, listen, not yet, wait a while. No, if something comes and she shares with me, Gabriel, listen, what do you think about this project? What do you think about this? I would tell her, go right ahead. I am here to support you, and wherever I can, as you were saying, I can put the soil and I can put the water and allow it to bloom and grow and be fruitful. I am there as that type of person to do it. And not only for her, but even where I am concerned, if there are things within me that Denise has recognized can be of good value, she would tell me, Gabriel, don't allow it to remain there. Let's work at it and let's let it bloom, let it grow, let it come out of you. So yeah, we've been that type of couple where things that are within us, we do not stifle it, we do not push it under the rug, but rather we let it come out. We open the fridge and let it have some air, yeah? So that persons can come and receive things from within the refrigerator.
That is very true, Karen. We've been very, very supportive of each other's ventures and of each other's ideas, of each other's dreams. And we are not a competitive couple, so we don't compete against each other.
No, not one bit.
I am very much an out there person, and my husband is as well. We are both out there people. But, I do a lot of leading. I do a lot of idea generation. That's just natural to who I am.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm a very creative person, so I'm always hatching up an idea. I'm always thinking of, let's do this project, let's do this thing. And my children are exactly the same way. All three of our children, our sons are exactly the same.
Yeah.
They're idea generators, very, very creative. They're always thinking of projects all on their own. And we support them as well. And we're very supportive as a family unit of each other's ideas and dreams.
That's absolutely amazing. I was going to come on to asking you about your children, because I know you have, is it 3 boys?
Sure. Yeah, 3 sons, yeah. 3 men sons. Now. 3 grown men, Karen.
How old
The
are they
only one is
now?
at home with us now, the youngest. The other two are out of the house.
One 34, 30, and the last one
26.
is 26.
Yep. So only the
Showing my age now.
26-year-old is
Showing
at
my
home. The
age.
other two are
The
out. One is
oldest one is
married.
34.
Exactly, right? You remember when they were little children, right? Yep.
All
The
right.
men, yes,
I'm
Karen, they're all
swiftly
men.
going to move along.
And they are artists within their own right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're artists
They're
within
all
their own
artists within their
rights.
own right
And
as well. Very
yeah,
creative young
good.
men.
Fantastic. I
Yeah.
am very, very happy to hear that. You know, it's very often you hear about successful couples, and one person has had to give up their dreams for the sake of supporting the other one. There are very
Mhm.
few couples I know
The other one.
that allow each other to grow together whilst nurturing each other. I don't know what the secret is,
Yeah.
but I'm happy to have a couple like you sitting on my proverbial sofa so that I can talk to you and hear things like that. Now, Gabriel,
Sure, yeah.
you mentioned that that you guys are supportive of each other's dreams. So we've heard a little bit about some of what Denise has done. She's done her 3 blogs, she's written her 3 books, and you guys have established well, let's call them 2 enterprises together. One is a ministry, the other one is a sort of an
Yes.
enterprise. I want to come on to you doing what you do, because I know that recently you just launched what looked like a very, very lovely, delicious, delectable, delightful looking thing. So tell us about your thing that you have just launched.
It is amazing that you mentioned the thing that we just launched. Actually, only recently, my wife, actually on the launch date, my wife was making mention that I started in 1999 to really tap on what God had birthed within me, which is the whole concept and aspect of cooking. I remember in 1999, I went to the Palm Marine, which is the institute that sees it, that helps people with
That's training.
does training with cooking and so on. And I did that just to further understand and improve what I had already had within me. And it has been a journey, and I never wanted to tap into it. Actually, I tried to run away from it and not get into it. So every time the talk came up, I would try to divert and get into something else. But I recognize that my wife and my children keep saying to me all the time, Daddy, you have to do this, Daddy, you have to do that. Gabriel, is about time, it's about time. And I think the time came when it had to be birthed. And my son created the graphics for it. And they said to me, well, go ahead, Gabriel, we're going to launch on X day, so you have to do something. So yeah, it came about, and I think it is a wonderful experience for me as an individual not to hold back, as I said earlier, in what I can do, what is within me, but rather put it out there that people can understand and be part of it and really appreciate it. And I've had some wonderful comments concerning what I did. And yes, you know, I'm looking for it to mushroom and become bigger and bigger and better.
That's right. And the thing about it, Karen, in terms of how we connect so well in terms of what we do, I don't know if you realize, but since we had been on lockdown earlier in the year, I think we were on lockdown in Barbados from about April,
April, that's right.
And what we
Okay.
did in April was that we hosted our first date night live. Now, Gabriel and I do a lot of dating. Normally, we go every Friday night. That's been the norm for us for several years. We sometimes we go straight from work. Sometimes we come home, change, dress up, go out. I mean, apart from anniversaries and birthdays, we like to go out. We like to spend time alone.
That's right.
We go out and we eat. We go out and if we had an occasion to dance, listen to music. That's what we like to do as a couple. And we've been doing that for a long time. But when we were on lockdown, we recognized that we couldn't do it. So we said the idea came, well, let's do a date night and do our Facebook Live at the same time, and have people come into our homes and enjoy the romantic music with us. And we would use it not only as a time to showcase how we felt about each other, but we would use it as a teachable moment to share about the importance of couples being connected. We would share the music of the 80s because we love 80s music. It's the time of our lives when so many different things happened.
Yeah.
We got
You
married
actually
in the
can't beat
80s.
it.
We had our first child in the 80s. I left university in the 80s. Like, everything happened in the 80s for us. So that music is like the tune of our lives, and we played lots of that music, and we've been doing it from time to time since then. We've been doing these date night lives, and we said, well, this would be an excellent platform to also launch Gibbs, which is the name of the cooking enterprise, Gibbs. So we launched it during our date night live, and it is amazing how people connected with it. People messaged us and said, wow, a restaurant for couples, and that's not how we pitched it, but that's how people interpreted it, even though we had both couples and singles that we invited here to our home for the launch of Gibbs, so it has been tremendous. And I'm expecting fantastic things from my husband. He is an excellent cook and has been for several years. Excellent cook.
Well, I was just looking to see if I could get some of the photos up. Let me see if I can share this. Can you tell us what dish this is? Can you see?
Yeah.
Can you see the screen?
That's right.
Can you tell us about this dish?
He knows exactly what's on the plate, so he can tell you.
Yes, we have rosemary chicken glaze with Bajan brown sugar. We have
A medley of
grilled veg. We have as well herbal roasted potatoes, Gibbs slaw, and garden fresh. Garden greens. Yeah.
Oh, that looks
And a glass of wine. Of course.
And a glass of red wine.
It was.
Is this a
It was divine. That's right. It was. That's it. It's a similar thing. The only thing missing from this plate was the penne pie. I think the individual didn't take the penne pie, but we also had penne pie on the evening.
Wow. I mean,
it was a wonderful meal. Absolutely.
It looks like it was a wonderful meal,
everyone.
and this is just
that
another.
chicken was divine.
Well, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop sharing screen now because people are gonna be watching this and getting hungry. I just wanted people to get a feel.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted people to get a feel and a look of what it is that he did, and I'm of the opinion that nothing we do is wasted. I know what age we normally go to Pomerine Hotel. Pomerine Hotel is normally for when you leave school. And for Gabriel to introduce himself and say that he's a welder and he's a mechanic, it meant that for all of that time, he was not using those skills that he had. And now look, years later, he can come and present something that I'm telling you, top chefs, I mean executive chefs in hotels actually get paid top dollar to make that sort of food and make that sort of presentation. Gabriel, I'm telling you, I worked in the hotel industry for years, from when I was in Barbados, and it was my second job when I came up here in the UK, and I spent 7 years working in one of the top Hilton hotels, the largest Hilton hotel in Europe. 7 years working there, and in the food and beverage department. As an admin person, but in the food and beverage department. So I know what it means to make, excellent presentations. The brand still means something. And when I tell you that you could take that plate of food and it would pass, any executive chef would pass it, I'm telling you, from my heart. That is true.
I know
Excellent.
that.
Thank
I
you.
know that, Karen. I know that. Thank you so much for
Excellent.
saying
you.
so.
And you got me here with my mouth watering.
Well, you know what to do, and let me say here that when the persons from the UK come to Barbados, please remember to check Gabe's.
Gabe, that's right.
Absolutely. So does Gibbs have its own page, its own website, its own handles, or anything like that?
We're going to be doing that very soon. Our sons are going to be in charge of doing all of that because that's their area. They're into, digital graphics, motion graphics, photography, video. So they do all of our branding. So we are a one-stop shop. We don't have to worry about anything because, every book I've done, my sons do the branding. My sons do the photography. They do the graphics. They do my shows. They do my videos. So we don't have to worry. We are one-stop shop here. The Charles family is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, This is a God thing, Karen. It's a God thing.
Okay. All right. So let's turn our attention. We've talked a lot about food. I love talking about food. But let's turn our attention to better. Oh, come on.
Evidently. Blends.
Let's turn our attention to Better Blends.
Better Blends.
So Better Blends was founded when?
2008.
2008. Okay.
2008. Yes.
All right. And what was the purpose? What did you say was the purpose of establishing it?
Well, we wanted to create a knowledge entity, an institute, because an institute is somewhere where you go to learn. We wanted to create an institute, well, really a virtual institute where people could learn about love, about sex, about relationships, about dating. Yes, and some personal development too, because we also, cater in that area. But we wanted to create this institute which would be unique in that way, we would focus on creating programs. Because I'm a trained educator, we were able to develop curricula. So I developed a program called Marriage 101 with 6 courses where you could do courses in preparing for marriage. And then we would have, done workshops or seminars in various areas of relationship development. Many churches or organizations would have invited us in to do presentations, not only for married couples, but for those who were thinking about marriage, for those not yet married. We were used a lot in the island in something called Forever I Do, which is an event put on by the Nation Publishing Company yearly. We were used a lot to make presentations in the area of sex for that particular event. And, as a result, we even became the expert in relationships for the Sun to Sun. So for about 2 years, I wrote a column in the Sun to Sun in Barbados called Sex Talk. I did that for about 2 years or so. I was also the resident expert on the Mid Morning Mix, which was a TV show that aired every Friday in Barbados, and I was the relationship expert for a number of months, for perhaps a season or 2 in that show. And then eventually I was given the opportunity to have my own radio show on Life 97.5, which was called Love Talk. And then it merged and we also had it on BOB 92.9, which was a bigger station with a broader appeal because Life 97.5 is a Christian radio station, whereas BOB 92.9 is a general secular station. So both stations carried the show at the same time. I was a simulcast, and I did that in total for about 3 years.
Okay, so you don't do that anymore.
And that only came to an end since COVID. Yeah, that only came. It came to an end since COVID, since the whole COVID lockdown, and things started changing the radio station. And I started doing it from at home, but I don't do it weekly. I don't do it every single week, but I do it from time to time, live from my home. Love life. Yeah.
Okay, so you're still doing something from your home as it relates to relationships and sex talk and so on. That's good to hear. I sometimes try to
I do a live. Yes, I still do it.
sometimes I try to stay up, but it's hard because, 5 hours ahead means that 7 o'clock is like midnight here.
Yeah, the time difference. Yeah, the time difference. Yeah, we understand. Yes. Yeah, we understand. But what I've done, since I started doing it from at home, what I've done, I've placed most of those videos on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, so that people can go back then and watch it whenever they want to. They can watch it on my YouTube channel. Yeah.
Good. So we will get the YouTube channel that we can pin it in the comments of this episode, so that people will know where they can go to see or to hear what it is that you have to share. All right. So that's great. So that was Better Blends. I have a question for you. Because you understand about being a minister, and I know this is probably going to be a little bit of a tricky question, because you understand about being a minister and some of the strains and stresses that that ministers can face in terms of marriage. I'm not saying that the ministers' marriages are bad, mind you. I'm just saying that I understand, because they have a congregation to look after. They can be a lot of pressure and some strain where the couples are concerned. Is that an area that anyone has ever asked you to focus on or to speak on?
Actually, not directly. I wouldn't say directly focusing on ministers and their relationships. We've never had that request. Not ministers, no. Not but ministers have sat in sessions we've done, but we have not had a particular request to do a session that looked at the stressors which can impact people who are in ministry. No,
but the congregants, for sure, we have dealt with a lot of them, and that is concerned.
Sorry, say that again.
No, I am saying that, as my wife said, not ministers per se, although we have had ministers while we were delivering to a couples group. But I must say that the same thing would apply to ministers, because we are no different. We are the same kind of people. We go through the same problems. It's just a matter of ministers, I guess. As ministers, we want to place ourselves in a particular level where we don't seem to have the type of problem that the congregants would. But I want to say, yes, we have the same problems. It's just a matter of us being able to deal with the problems that we have, the issues that we have, just like any other person. Yeah.
And actually, Karen, because of our philosophy of ministry and in terms of what we do and how we do church, we try not to have that separation between minister and other, because we practice something called simple church. So our church is not traditional.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the traditional church. There's no platform. There's no separation. We're not criticizing those who worship in that way. We just do it differently. So our ministry inside of Missional community is very informal.
Yeah.
It's very organic, and it is really it is schooled on that type of platform where we come together, we sit in a circle, we share experiences, and so on. We provide leadership still, but it is not in the traditional format. And I think because we are so non-traditional, that it has opened doors to us in terms of people wanting to connect with us, people who would not perhaps want to be in a traditional church. And as I said, there's nothing wrong with traditional churches. We have no issues with them. It is just that God has called us to do something different. And, so there is that niche, if you would call it, are those people who would prefer to connect with a ministry like ours that allows them to really be open as we are open, because our lives are open books. We don't hide. So if we're having a bad day, everybody knows, we don't hide. We don't try to seem perfect or try to act as if we've never had problems.
That's right.
We share our story. We are very vulnerable to others. And I think that is how God has used our authenticity as a channel to bless other people.
Wow. Okay. I like the concept of just having, church in a circle. It lets one of the things that we learn as leaders when we go to leadership classes or leadership anything is that in order to establish the difference between yourself and others is that you either need to be on another level or in a different location, sort of like in the forefront. And what you're describing is something more like kind of what I picture what Jesus used to do when he was here on earth. And if he was talking to his disciples, he would be in a comfortable setting with them, but everyone on the same level, everyone at the same table, everyone sitting on the same ground, everyone sitting like that. But they knew that he was the teacher, and they connected with him like that. So it's not a case where he had to. So is that the kind of thinking that goes into it?
Yes.
Yes. And I like that. That's a really good concept.
Excellent.
That's beautiful. I believe because it's a sort of a grassroots thing. And I think that that's probably the pull that people have when they come to yours.
Word. Yes.
Okay, great. So that's inside out.
And God will use different formations. God is creative. God is creative and he's diverse, so he's going to use different formats to reach different people.
Absolutely, because there's some people that like the traditional form of church. They like the Anglican way of going in and genuflexing and like you said, there's nothing wrong with that. It's simply a matter of worshiping in
that. That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
The thing that God has called us to do is to worship him in spirit and in truth. And as long as you're worshiping him in spirit and in truth, that is what matters. That is what matters. All right, great. I think I have kept you all on this interview for a long time. But I can't end without asking you to share something along the lines of relationships. Okay, so COVID has happened. It has happened. And lots of people suddenly found themselves locked in with each other when they were accustomed to being busy and going about their lives, doing everything that they had to do and so on and so forth. And some people may have found chinks or cracks in the armor that they thought was actually quite sturdy. And now a lot of people are probably thinking that they have an uncertain future. If a couple came to you like that, what sort of advice would you give to them?
I would tell people that they need to maximize these moments that COVID has brought. The only constant in life is change, and we know that change is something that we need to embrace. And while we may not have been looking for the types of changes that COVID brought to have happened the way they did happen. And the thing is, what can we learn from this exercise? What can we learn from this global pandemic? How can it shape us? How can it change us? How can it make us better, both in terms of our individual lives and in terms of our relationships? What I can share with you is my personal experience. And having been home for such a long time, because I was home from the end of March in terms of being at home from the office, then the country went on lockdown, and I was able to work from home, and I was working from home, I think right down until June or so. I was working from April right down until June, July at home. And having that time away from the hustle and bustle on the street, because I still had to work. I had to do a lot of work actually, but having that time away from the hustle and bustle on the street, being in my home some more, and having us both here in each other's spaces all the time, what that enabled us to do is to connect at a deeper level. I mean, my husband started a kitchen garden. I did a lot more writing. I did some reading. I did things that I hadn't had a chance to do for a while, like just sit outside and enjoy the fresh air. Things like that I didn't have a chance to do because my life was so busy moving from one thing to the next. So I think it is important for couples and for families to seize this moment. I know not everybody's situation is ideal. I know some people might have been challenged by cramped living conditions and not having the chance to go too far outside and so on, and that might have impacted some homes differently. We heard about challenges with spousal abuse, or homes where abuse was a problem. It became more prevalent because there's no sense of respite. You know, you can't get away and go anywhere. And we are very empathetic of people who went through those types of challenges or are still going through those types of challenges in different parts of the world, because we know there are different types of lockdowns still going on in some parts of the world where people just go, you know, for very short periods of time. We are back to normal in Barbados, you know, for all intents and purposes, other than the wearing of masks in public and so on. But certainly, I think we've taken this time to reconnect, and that's something that we've advised couples to do.
That's right.
You're spending more time together. Let it work for you. Spend more time talking to each other, communicating, connecting, doing some hobby together, developing yourself. There's so much we can explore in the online environment as well. So you might not have had a chance to go here or there, but you can go so many places online. You can read so much. You can engage so much. There's so many videos, so much that you can do to develop yourself. And we've been encouraging people and encouraging ourselves to seize these moments and to really allow it to catapult us to the next level. And that's not meant to be cliche, even though it may sound that way. But certainly I have grown through these months of being, you know, in this COVID experience.
Okay. Thank you so very much for that response, Denise. I mean, I completely agree with you. There is so much that can be done. This shut down, lockdown, shut in, whatever you want to call it, has opened up so many doors. Some of them good, some of them not so good. But I think we spent too much time concentrating on the ones that were not so good. And then we missed out on the ones, the opportunities, you know, so many people made things available for free. There were universities that you normally have to pay thousands of dollars or pounds to.
That's right. That's right.
That
so many courses
available for absolutely free. And coding, kids could learn coding and different things, all for free. And not a lot of people maximize on those opportunities. They spent a lot of time being grappled by the fear of the statistics and the news and the this and the that, and listening and feeding themselves with everything that was negative. But you're absolutely right. This was the time to start your personal projects. It's great that you started your home garden, and look what it produced. Back to food again, and I'm coming right off of it. And and you were able to do some more writing and so on and so forth. It, you know, it was a time of great opportunity. We up here, we've had to do, you know, quite a bit of pivoting. I could not do as much pivoting where my business was concerned. In fact, I had to try and give up a lot of what I was doing and start something new, which is how this was born. This was born out of, you know, pivoting and trying to find and find new ways of doing what you were doing in your business. So yes, and Gabriel, my final question for you, Gabriel, is what do you say to men who feel this is a strange word, but who feel emasculated by a woman who may be more qualified on paper or earning more money than them?
I don't have a problem with it. For men, yes, I know men are the type that believe that, hey, I am a man and God has placed me to be head of the home. Hence, I should be the person that be seen as the one that would bring in the most money, do the bigger job, you know, have the position and so on. Yes, there are men that think that way. I don't think that way. I believe that if God has placed something within your spouse that she is a professional and she's better in than you, allow her the space to go on. It doesn't make you any smaller. It doesn't make you feel belittled. No, I don't feel that way. My wife is a professional, and there are things that she do, and I give lead to her and allow her to do it, where I am not in that area. So there's no competition when it comes to a husband and wife. I don't think it should be. There is none between Denise and myself, and what it has done to me is caused me to appreciate whom God has given me and the things that she can do, which I cannot, but I could more be able to, how to put it, appreciate and allow her lead to do it, because it's only going to make us better. I believe it's going to make us better. So I must say here though that I think for men, we have what it calls fear of failure. And I think that if a man sees his wife earning more than him, he somewhat would feel intimidated, and his friends probably would tell him, man, she's wearing the pants in here. So it plays on him psychologically. But for me, I have put that to God, and that has been put to bed. That's no problem with me. And I don't think men should allow that to be a problem, because as I said, if a woman can lead in something, if she's better than you in something, allow her to go ahead. If she's better at home affairs, go ahead. If she earns more money, hey, if my wife earns more money, I feel good about it. I don't have to hurt my head. Well, hey, something is going to happen because she earns more, I am going to feel small. No. God has said in his word, the two shall become one. And it doesn't matter what my wife is or what I am. We are not going to allow that to hinder us from being vulnerable to each other and being the best that we can be as a family. First, family comes. Family is first for us. And whatever it is that we can do to cause the family to be better, we are going to do it. Yeah. So no, I have no problems when it comes to my wife taking lead in things. No.
I want to add though, Karen, that sometimes I get very challenged sometimes with these questions, because sometimes we pigeonhole life into these boxes and we fail to see, I kind of balk at the idea of me taking lead in things in that sense, even though I understand what my husband means, because I honestly still see my husband as a leader. I am very traditional. So in spite of the fact that I do so much, I am still very traditional, and I honor my husband and I see him as the leader in our home. I don't see myself as the leader. I have lots of ideas. I do a lot of things on my own. I am, creative. As I said, I'm independent, but I'm still very interdependent as well. So I don't go off and do things on a tangent without his input, and neither does he. And I value everything that my husband brings to the table. And, my husband within his own right is very skilled. And I don't have, as an educator, I don't, I am not snobbish. So even though I'm an educator and I'm educated to the highest level, I value all types of learning, and I value all the skills and the competencies that my husband brings to the table. I honor my husband as the head of our home. It doesn't make me any less than a woman. He does not feel emasculated, even though we understand that some men do. He does not feel emasculated in any way by my accomplishments. And I value the accomplishments that he has made as well. I mean, he's an excellent welder. He's an excellent chef. He does well in everything that he does, and he's a great problem solver. The thing about our home is, if there's anything wrong in our home, we seldom have to bring anybody in to fix it, because my husband will fix it. From plumbing to electrical problems. I mean, it would have to be something really huge for us to bring in someone. He does most things on his own because he's very good at picking down problems and solving them. That's Gabriel. And I love him for it. I love the fact that I can ask him anything. I can ask him how to do anything. He can give advice to our sons about their car, about what needs fixing in it. He can fix elements of our own vehicle. So there's so much that he's good at, and I value it. I don't see it in any way as being any less than anything that I do. So we complement each other very well. I always tell people I wouldn't want to be married to myself. I like the fact that I have someone who is very different to me, but yet we share so much and we have so much in common in terms of our values and our sense of purpose. So we are the perfect fit.
And I wholeheartedly agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. It's part of the reason why I feel that our educational system is slightly broken, because we only see or we place
Yes.
high importance on those that can achieve academic success. But those that can achieve vocational success are sort of treated as second-class citizens. And it's not right. I've seen it all across the world. It happens there, it happens here, it happens all across the world. Right. And it's not so. It's not the right way to help children or to help any young person to achieve their fullest potential. They can't start off achieving their fullest potential when they think that they are a second-class citizen, or that the skill that they have is not as important as someone who can retain academia. It's not right. And I wish that I could protest it, but I am only one person, and not too many people seem keen on saying something about fixing a broken system. So I just teach my son to be the best that he can be, and learn everything that he can learn, whether it's with his hands or with his brain, to maximize whatever he is good at and do his very best. And once he has done his best, God will add the favor.
That's right.
So, oh my goodness, we could talk and talk and talk for days, but it's time to say goodbye. I am so happy to have had you both to come and share on KI Tee Vee. We didn't really talk a lot about business and business principles. It was mainly on family, but you know, there's a lot of what you shared that can be segued across into business principles and habits that you need to have in order to be successful in business, or if you're running a charity. So thank you so very much, Gabriel and Denise. Thank you for coming on and being patient and sharing so openly and candidly.
Thank you.
And
thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
And I also want to say thank you to those of you who have watched this episode of KI Tee Vee. If you have enjoyed it, please drop a comment and let us know that you've enjoyed it. Click on the links, visit their pages, look up Denise's books. And if you're planning a trip to Barbados, find out where Gabe's is and go for a visit. Remember, like our Facebook page and turn on the notifications so that you'll know when a new episode is uploaded. So until next time, stay safe. I'm Karen Reeves, topping your host. Bye for now.